We all know that Instagram can get you clients, but nobody, and I mean nobody, is talking about how. So you just keep posting and getting likes and trying to get comments and trying to get that following up, but you have no pathway to turn those followers into real cash. The truth is that growing on Instagram and making money from Instagram are two completely different skills. Luckily for you, I live and breathe this stuff. And so today I'm gonna break down what no one else will. And I'm gonna show you the 5 ways that service business owners are using Instagram to get leads and sign clients daily. My name is Steph Frey. Our business generates over $4 million per year, and a quarter of that comes from Instagram. I've consulted huge names on Instagram like Matt Gray. I've shared stages with the likes of Alex Hormozy, and I'm kind of the go-to when it comes to monetizing a small audience. And I work with service business owners just like you every single day to install and execute the strategies that I'm gonna share with you today, so you can be guaranteed that I know that they work. So that you can choose which one of these strategies is right for you, I've developed a ranking system. So you can choose which one to implement based on how much you wanna make and how much time you actually have. Because I wanna be really clear, all 5 of these strategies do work, but they are not equal. And picking the wrong one can be detrimental to your business because it leads to slow growth. So for the purpose of this video, I am ranking all of these strategies on effort versus return. So to make this simple, lower effort equals lower return. That doesn't mean you can't make money from them, that just means you probably won't make a huge amount of money from them, but they are easy to start. And on the upper end of the scale, you'll have a higher effort, but these are the kinds of things that are making money really fast. And some of our clients are generating literally hundreds of thousands of dollars per month using these strategies. So before we dive in, here's what I see constantly that makes me want to pull my hair out. Service business owners that post great content and build an awesome following, but they have no system to turn that following into clients, which is heartbreaking because you're literally sitting on so much money. Or service business owners that spam their audience with CTAs like book a call, buy now, book a consult, get in touch today. Reminder, no one opens up their Instagram and goes, I can't wait to buy something today. And so I can guarantee you that you fall into either one of those camps. But don't worry, that's about to change. So strategy 1, this is getting your Instagram story watchers into your DMs. So this is pretty simple and you'll see people using this all the time. These are questions, polls, stickers, things like that you put on your Instagram stories to get engagement from your followers. And the reason why this works is because your warmest audience are the ones who are watching your stories. It's very rare that someone cold comes in, finds you, follows you, and then watches all of your stories and then watches them on repeat forever. But your warm audience are most likely to engage with you. They're most likely to put their hand up and say they need your help, and they're the ones that are watching your stories every single day. Okay, so not all story shares are equal, so let me tell you exactly what's working for service businesses like yours to sign clients. First and foremost, before and afters always work. Now, I don't care if you're in fitness or you do lawn care or you do pool maintenance, you should share before and afters. If people can see the direct outcome of working with you in an image or in a visual, they're gonna be more likely to say yes to you straight away. So the fastest way to make money using Instagram stories and using this process is to put up a before and an after, and then follow up with a CTA. Like if you want these sorts of results in your home, or if you want these sorts of results in your business, or if you want these sorts of results in your life, then reply with the word results, and I'll share my process on exactly how it works. Now there's a couple little hacks here. I recommend using the reply function rather than anything else, because when they reply, they're starting direct conversations with you straight away, which means that you can straight away see which are your hottest leads, and you can prioritize your time to speak to them. If you don't have before and afters, that's totally fine. I would highly recommend using testimonials, any kind of proof that you've got, and again, following up with the same CTA. If you want this sorts of results or if you want this sort of outcome, then reply and I'll send you some information about how we can work together. So the reason why I've ranked it here as low effort and low return, because it is super effective when you're first using it until you run out of warm audience. If the same people are watching your stories every single day and you're starting to do it every single day, then they're gonna become numb to it, and anyone who was gonna have worked with you would have already replied to you. So you get diminishing returns, but it does work, so I would recommend adding this into your weekly rotation on your Instagram stories. Great, so we've got story engagement. Now let's move into strategy number 2. These are comment to DM automations. This is where you might post a reel or a carousel and you tell people to comment a word, and then it automatically starts a conversation with them in your DMs. The best thing about this is that it's high volume and it's super scalable because it doesn't really require that much manpower. And I can guarantee you that you've been in one of these funnels before. Here's why it works. So I don't know about you, but when I'm scrolling my feed and I see something that's worth opting in on, I comment the word and then I go straight to my DMs because I want to actually consume that piece of content while I'm thinking about it and while I've just opted in. So the reason why this process works so well is because you have really high intent leads dropping into your inbox and then literally being right there to talk to you. Not only does it take warm people to your inbox. It also brings in a lot of new followers. When you get this right, these posts can go viral. And it builds trust fast because usually you're giving something to them that's really high value. And the laws of reciprocity say that the more that you give, the more that you get. So here's how it works. The truth is that you need something really good on the front end for them to opt in on, to actually stop their scroll and make them get that furious desire to go back to their DMs and make sure they actually got the document. And so it has to be really bloody good. Here's a post that's worked really well for me to show you an example of this in practice. The hook is super valuable. If I had to start over, here's how I get 4,000 new followers in 90 days. So naturally people are like, I would love to get 4,000 followers in the next 90 days. So they swipe across. It says that I've just recorded a tutorial that breaks down exactly how to get 4,000 followers in the next 90 days, and it's completely for free. And you can see that on this particular post, I've got over 230 comments of people who are interested in getting access to this downloadable because it was good enough to stop someone's scroll, valuable enough that they wanted to go and get it and watch it, and they were sure that it was going to get them an outcome. So when I say that it has to be good and it has to be valuable, that's the kind of level I mean. Pro tip, obviously you can't always be on your phone to make sure that you're making the most of all of these conversations or making sure they get that document as soon as possible. So what I'd highly recommend using is ManyChat. ManyChat is an automation tool that means that when they comment something, it automatically sends them the thing. You can use it on posts, stories, reels, all sorts of stuff. It's amazing. I could go on all day about how great ManyChat is, but I highly recommend using it for this sort of funnel. This helps you automate the messages so that you don't have to be on your phone all the time. Here's why the comment to DM process is ranked here. It is fairly easy to execute, but it does require a great freebie on the front end, which can take some time to develop. But once you do, this is a great moneymaker. All right, let's go into strategy 3. This one is my personal favorite. This is a monthly live webinar that you invite your Instagram audience to. The problem with Instagram is that everything is obviously short form content. Now, studies have shown that it takes 7 hours and 11 touch points over 4 different platforms to get somebody to trust you enough to buy from you. And it's really hard to get that 7 hours of content up in 60-second reels. This particular strategy has made our company over $2 million because the way that it works is you already have people on your social media who know and like you, but they don't trust you enough yet to buy from you or fully understand what it is that you do. And the webinar solves that problem. So by inviting your followers to a webinar, you have the opportunity to show them more about you, build a ton of trust, and shorten the buying cycle so they know, like, and trust you way faster and buy from you sooner. One of our clients, Ange, is a weight loss nutritionist, and she had a really big audience, but she was struggling to convert that audience into paying clients. And it's because they weren't having enough what we call time on brand, that they're not consuming enough of her content to build enough trust to shorten that buying cycle. And so her buying cycle was oftentimes 3 to 6 months. So they follow her for 3 or 6 months before purchasing, which sucks, which is way too long if you're trying to make money fast. So we helped her install a webinar funnel. And every month, for 3 months in a row, she ran a webinar that she invited her Instagram audience to. Now, this webinar had to solve a massive problem. Now, she's an online weight loss nutritionist. And the first time we actually ran this webinar is in December, which is actually the worst time to be a weight loss nutritionist because no one cares about losing weight over Christmas. But we ran it in early December and we said, lose 5 kilos in 3 weeks before Christmas. So it was a big problem to solve. So when you're running a webinar, it has to be something that people would actually want to attend, that feels like, oh my God, this is so valuable. I would really love that. It has to be timely. It has to be relevant. There's a whole heap of science that goes into this. But we solved a big problem for her audience. They wanted to shred a little bit of weight before all the Christmas festivities. So she marketed it on her social media. They went to a landing page, told them all the amazing things they were going to get for free. They signed up and they registered, then they attended the event. On the day of the webinar, Ange goes through and she shows them their problem, why they're stuck there, how the system has let them down, and how everything else they've tried before wasn't right for them. And then she explains why her process is different and offers her program as the solution. Now, this webinar is only 60 minutes long, but using this process, Ange was able to sign an additional 15 to 20 new clients in the month that she ran it. So it's just 60 minutes of work every month and it can sign you between 15 to 20 new clients. Yes, please. So here's why it's ranked here. Obviously, it's a little more difficult. You need to market the event, you need to create the slides, you need to present the information, but every single client of ours that is using a webinar to sell their offer, whether that's professional services, online business coaching, or B2B, is making huge money from this. We had one client go from $20,000 a month to $140,000 a month just by running webinars. So yes, it's difficult to start, but it has huge payoff at the end. So number 3 was webinars, and number 4 is follower ads. This is really simple. You basically run some ads, you get new followers, and then you send them a message. It's not rocket science. The truth is that people have chosen to follow you for a reason. They found you, they've looked at your page, and they've gone, I think this person can help me. And so you want to strike while the iron is hot and send them a message and invite them into your world to take another step. Now, I'm not saying that you should message them and sell them straight away because that's a big no-no, but you definitely want to start a conversation with them because right when they follow you is when their intent is the highest. So here's how it works. The easiest way to run this strategy is just to boost a post, but there's some rules about which post to boost. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that when you're boosting a post, post, you're boosting a post that has the CTA, follow me for more information, or follow me for more tips on X. The CTA needs to be follow me. 2, you want to boost a post ideally that's generated you followers before. So if you go into your posts and then you go into insights and then you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see how many followers that post has got you. If a post has organically got you followers, then it makes sense that if you boost it, it's going to get you more followers. So you only want to boost content that's likely to actually get you followers. So when you're boosting posts, you might boost for $5 or $10 a day, and you're aiming to get your cost per follower under $1. Now you might be wondering, how do I figure out my cost per follower? Well, you simply get the amount of followers you got the day before and the amount of money you spent, and you divide them. You can go really nerdy with this and set it up on meta ads and find the perfect targeting and all of that sort of stuff, but honestly, most of the time you don't need to. So here's why it's ranked here. Because you might get a ton of followers, but you actually need to message every single one of those followers and start a conversation. And that conversation needs to be well structured in order to help them to realize that they have the problem that you solve, that they need you, and that they're interested in taking the next step and working with you, and that is an art and a science on its own. You will spend a lot more time in your DMs having conversations with these people, moving them through your funnel, because you can't just automate this with ManyChat. In order to take someone from barely knowing you to buying from you, there's gonna have to be a little bit of backwards and forwards conversation. But if you already have a great Instagram and you're making awesome content and you have someone that's starting conversations, or you're willing to do DM conversations with these people, then this funnel will rock for you. And strategy number 5 is the DM ads funnel. This is the best strategy for making money because you literally get inbound leads every single day of people who want what you sell. These are the highest intent leads that you can get on Instagram. The simple breakdown of how this works is that you run a lead magnet. In order to get access to it, they have to DM you, which means that you wake up every day with new people who want the thing that you sell. Now, these are the highest intent leads that you can get on Instagram because they raised their hand and they started the conversation with you. And you also won't get punished for starting too many conversations on Instagram because it's all inbound. So here's how it works. So you run a meta ad with a creative that offers something valuable. So a freebie, a downloadable, a checklist, a training, similar to the one I showed you in strategy 2. But instead of comment a word, it's send a DM. So that means that they're opening conversations with you and you're waking up with inbound leads every day. So when they click the ad, it opens up an Instagram DM message directly with your account. I know, it's pretty magic, right? And then you can take over and have a manual conversation with them. If you're gonna run this funnel, the best thing that works is to have an automated sequence that sends the freebie out straight away and says something along the lines of, hey, real Steph isn't available right now, but here's the freebie that you requested. Human Steph will be back shortly. And then when you have the time, you can jump back in and take over the conversation and start asking them questions to move them through your funnel. In order to get the volume of inbound leads that you need to be able to make sales, you're probably gonna wanna spend around $20 to $30 per day. Some of our clients, Jimmy and Cass, turned on this funnel and they started talking to their inbound leads, and they took their gym from stagnating with no new members to signing 14 new members in a single month, all from this one funnel. Compared to the rest of the funnels, if you do this one right, you're gonna get the most qualified people, because if the freebie is really specific to the kind of person you actually want to attract, then every single person that drops into your DMs is statistically perfect. So I just want to remind you that if you're a service business, you're in the business of servicing people. And if you don't show them good customer service, they're not going to invest in your service. And so if you sell a high ticket offer, then I highly recommend running this funnel, because you're going to build a relationship way faster and you can turn cold leads into sales in as little as 7 days. Here's why it's ranked here. Clearly, it's a little bit more techie to set up. You have to have a good freebie, you have to get familiar with meta ads, and you have to have a good DM script to convert them into clients. But once you've nailed this and it's set up, it prints money for you like nothing else. Because once it's set up, it's set and forget. The ad keeps sending new people into your DMs every day and you keep having conversations on autopilot. Now, all 5 of these strategies will make you money, but you might be wondering, Steph, which one should I use for my particular business? That's a common question that I get asked almost daily. And the honest answer is it's incredibly nuanced. It depends on your business, your niche, how your audience interact, where they hang out online, and what kind of business you ultimately want to run. When clients come to us with this same question, we often say, just go straight to strategy number 5. Because yes, it's a little bit time intensive in the beginning, but you have the most payoff and it continues producing for you long after you set it up. So if strategy 5 sounds good to you, but you don't know where to start, or you don't know quite how to set it all up, then me and my team would love to help you. In the description of this video, there'll be a link to book a call and we can show you exactly how this will work for your industry and tell you which one is probably going to be right for you. Otherwise, if you got value from this video, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe.